Rome was the most powerful empire of its time. It conquered Europe, North Africa, and even parts of Asia. But there was one land it never touched: America. It shouldn't have been possible. The Atlantic was too vast. The technology wasn't there. History says they never made it. But what if history is wrong? What if, centuries before Columbus, Roman legions set foot on American soil? Would they have built an empire stretching from the Amazon to Alaska? Or would they have fallen before the first battle even began? By the end of this video, your entire perception of history will be rewritten. Let's get started. The Lost Voyage. Imagine this. It's the year 264 AD. A battered Roman merchant ship, loaded with cargo from Carthage, is caught in a violent storm off the coast of Hispania. The winds howl like the gods are angry, the mast cracks under the pressure, and the crew, seasoned sailors hardened by the Mediterranean, are thrown into chaos. They fight the storm for hours, but the ocean is ruthless. Days pass. When the storm finally calms, they find themselves lost. The familiar shores of Europe are gone. There's only endless water stretching beyond the horizon. Their food supplies are dwindling. Their only hope? To follow the currents and pray they lead somewhere. Now here's where history gets interesting. We know that the Romans were master shipbuilders. Their vessels weren't just built for hugging the coast. Some were capable of long sea voyages. And here's the kicker. Ancient Roman artifacts have been discovered in the Americas. A cache of Roman coins was found in Venezuela. A Roman bust, eerily preserved, was unearthed in Mexico. How did they get there? One theory suggests that Rome accidentally discovered America. The same ocean currents that carried Columbus westward in 1492 were always there. The Canary Current, a powerful Atlantic stream, flows directly from North Africa to the Caribbean. If a lost Roman ship got caught in this current, they wouldn't have had a choice. They would have arrived in the New World, whether they wanted to or not. But what happened next? Did they survive? Were they taken in by native tribes? Or did Rome, for a fleeting moment in history, touch the shores of America, only for time to erase the evidence? If they did, then history didn't just forget them. History might have covered it up. Rome versus the New World. The thick jungle is eerily silent. The only sound is the rustling of leaves as unseen eyes watch from the shadows. A group of Roman soldiers, their once polished armor now dulled by salt and sun, steps cautiously into the unfamiliar shore. Their commander grips his gladius tightly. This isn't Gaul. This isn't Britannia. This is something else. Then, a war horn. From the trees, figures emerge. Tall warriors, their bodies painted with symbols of gods the Romans have never heard of. Bows drawn, spears raised. The Romans brace for battle. They've fought barbarians before, but these men fight differently. They know the land, the rivers, the terrain. Their arrows strike before the Romans can even raise their shields. This is what Rome would have faced if they landed in the New World. Not scattered tribes, but civilizations as advanced and organized as their own. The Maya, with their towering pyramids and intricate knowledge of astronomy. The Aztecs, whose warriors were trained from birth to die with honor. The Iroquois Confederacy, a league of nations that could outmaneuver any invader. Would Rome's disciplined legions have stood a chance? Maybe. But war isn't just about formations and steel. Rome thrived by turning enemies into allies. But how do you negotiate with a people who don't know your gods, don't fear your empire, and see you as nothing more than another invader? If Rome thought they could march into America like they did in Gaul, they were in for a brutal surprise. Because here, they weren't the conquerors. They were the outsiders. The new Roman Empire. The air is thick with tension. The Romans stand in tight formation, shields locked, watching as the warriors of the New World study them in return. But instead of an immediate war, there is hesitation, caution. The Romans don't understand these people, and the people of this land, they don't know what to make of the invaders wrapped in steel. But history has shown one truth. Conflict is inevitable. At first, it's small skirmishes, quick, brutal clashes on the edges of settlements. The Romans, trained in formation warfare, struggle against an enemy that doesn't fight like the Gauls or the Persians. The natives don't stand in lines. They disappear into the jungle, striking from the shadows. Rome's discipline is met with unpredictability, their steel against obsidian, their tactics against an unknown land. But Rome has survived worse. They don't just conquer, they adapt. The legions start moving differently, abandoning rigid formations for flexibility. They build fortified camps not just for defense, but as footholds. And over time, the pattern shifts. Rome no longer fights to dominate. Instead, they do what they've done for centuries. They assimilate. The first Roman colony in the Americas was born, Nova Roma. Here, Latin and native languages blend, creating a dialect that neither side fully owns. Mayan engineers teach Romans new ways to track the stars, while Roman aqueducts carve through the jungle, bringing water to cities where gladiator games now mix with traditional ceremonies. Rome's gods are worshipped alongside Quetzalcoatl and Kukulkan. But this isn't just another province. This is something new, and the Senate back in Rome has no control over it. For the first time in history, Rome is growing in a way it never has before, by compromise, not conquest. But the real question is, how long before this new Rome forgets the old one? Could Rome keep America? At first, Nova Roma flourished. The roads stretch farther, the cities grow taller, and a new generation is born. Children who are neither fully Roman nor fully native, but something in between. For a moment, it seems like Rome has done the impossible. They have rewritten history, forging an empire that spans not just continents, but civilizations. But history has a cruel sense of irony, because what Rome builds, it also struggles to hold together. The cracks begin slowly. Small rebellions, whispered conspiracies, distant provinces refusing to send tribute. Back in the old world, Rome itself is weakening. The empire is stretched thin, fighting wars in Europe, fending off barbarian invasions. The Senate, already losing its grip, now faces an impossible dilemma. Do they save Rome or Nova Roma? And the moment that question arises, Nova Roma is already lost. Without reinforcements from the homeland, the Roman elite in America become emperors of their own making, warlords clinging to power, ruling with iron fists. The local population, once allies, start to see the Romans as outsiders once again. The same playbook Rome used to conquer now turns against them. Just as Rome absorbed cultures into its empire, the New World absorbed Rome. The statues crumble, the Latin tongue fades, the aqueducts fall into ruin. And one by one, the last remnants of Roman rule are swallowed by time. But here's the real question. If Rome had held on just a little longer, would we be living in a Roman America today? The final twist. Imagine walking through the streets of New York, but instead of skyscrapers, you see grand Roman forums. Instead of neon signs and billboards, marble statues of emperors tower above, their eyes carved into eternity. The official language is Latin. The legal system is based on the Roman Republic. The world map is unrecognizable. If Rome had truly colonized America, if they had survived the wars, the revolts, the political chaos, everything we know today would be different. The United States maybe wouldn't exist. Instead, a massive empire might stretch across both hemispheres, bound by Roman law, culture, and ambition. The Renaissance might have happened centuries earlier, fueled by Mayan mathematics blending with Roman engineering. The Industrial Revolution? Maybe Rome, with its obsession for innovation, would have discovered steam power first, rewriting history long before Britain ever rose to dominance. But here's the real twist. It almost happened. Ancient Roman artifacts have been found in the Americas. Coins, pottery, even shipwrecks that shouldn't exist. Some believe that, long before Columbus, a lost Roman voyage actually made it across the Atlantic. If they had stayed, if they had built even a single outpost, the entire trajectory of human civilization could have changed. We live in a world where Rome fell, but in another timeline, just slightly different from our own, Rome never faded into history. It became the architect of the modern world. And if that were the case, would we still recognize the world we call home? That's all for today. If you have enjoyed this video, do hit that like and subscribe button for more content like this.